Hello everyone, and welcome to another reaction to Attack on Titan, the final season, part 2, episode 4. So remember last week I did not have a review. I shared most of my thoughts briefly in the reaction video, and I wanted to hear like feedback from you guys before I go more into depth on my opinions and stuff. So I will be doing a separate review video today if you want to check that out. And a big shout out to everyone that has been sharing their comments with me. Thank you so much for being respectful, and even if you disagree with me, you do a great job of explaining your side so that I can understand where you're coming from, and hopefully better be able to explain myself and where I'm coming from. But at the end of the day, there's no reason why we have to agree. I think that art is subjective, and this isn't real, so we don't have to come to a conclusion, right? We can just talk about it and learn from the experience and the interactions. So yeah, thank you so much to everyone for your comments and your views and your likes. The like to dislike ratio has been really good. Last year was a little bit worse, not a lot though, but I think it's because YouTube took away the ability to see how many dislikes a video has, which is really weird. But I can't do anything about that. I can still see the dislikes though, but I think less people bother clicking it now. So that's why it's better than last year, but last year wasn't too bad. So yeah, I just really appreciate all the interaction, likes, dislikes, comments. Even if you talk about me on the Reddit, you're still bringing people over onto my channel, and I really appreciate that. So thank you to everyone. I'm really looking forward to today's episode. Last week was so crazy. I was in denial half the time. I was sitting there thinking about it afterwards. I was just sitting there like, no way. No way. They can't do this. No way. And now I'm just thinking like, no, it happened. And what now? So I'm really looking forward to seeing what is going to happen now. And yeah, I will obviously in my review video talk more in depth about everything in this episode. But I'll still, if I have to share something, pause and take notes, or pause and share brief thoughts. But in-depth commentary and responses to last week's content will be in the review, plus more on today's episode depending on what happens. So thank you for being here, and yeah, I hope to see you in the review as well, because that is where we really get into things and can talk about it. But anyway, let's get started. Let me just make sure my earphones are on. Okay. That's from Eren. Oh, just before I get started, I think there was some people missed something last week about. Okay, but I'll talk about that more in the review. But oh my god, that is so cute. Babies are so cute.
いかにも幸せそうじゃないか。仲間や以前の家族を地獄に突き落として生きながらえているにしては、一体何がしたい？お前がわかるまで見せてやる。グリシャ・イエーガーがいかにして息子を洗脳し、お前に民族主義を植え付けたのか。よかったな、グリシャ。ここじゃ1回目の家族を一切忘れて幸せを享受するあんたを誰も咎めない。以前も息子がいたことを一切忘れてもな。
He sounds a little like hurt, doesn't he?
行くぞ。
Not that he's not allowed to be.
見ろ、エレン。これが奴の正体だ。医者の肩書きを利用して権力者にすり寄り出したぞ。壁の王を追求し、始祖の巨人を奪うためだ。当然しくじれば妻も息子もただじゃ済まない。だがその危険を冒し続ける。なぜだかわかるか。 このクソ親父はエルディア復権のためなら妻子をクソダメに捨てるようなクソ野郎だからだ。幻滅した。俺は間違ってた。生まれるべきじゃなかった。洗脳が解けたよ。
おじさんなわけないだろ。ただの夢だ。これは
次の記憶だ。
What? I love how it kind of took a twist. At first it was like Zeke being like, I'll show you and I'll teach you. And then it took a turn and now like Zeke's the one learning some new things and Eren is saying on to the next one. Memories of the future.
始祖の力を使ってどうするつもりだったんだ。俺
What is interesting to me is like, I have to briefly mention this, but once again I will talk about it in more depth in the review. But I was thinking of a comment that I just saw before this video. What were you planning to do at the power of the founding? But where is it? Why do you refuse to end this conflict? I just find it so curious why he talks about ending conflict, but think about this quote from Erwin. Humanity will never stop fighting itself until it shrinks to a size of one or fewer. Keep that in your mind, and then also this comment. Let me see here. Daniel G says Zeke has a good point. With the Titans around the world, there is no peace. It would be better if they did not have children and lived to their old age. And I replied, do we have world peace in our world? Eradicating Titans would not make the world more peaceful. There is not world peace even in our world without Titans. So eradicating Eldians is not going to bring about world peace. It is just eradicating Eldians. There will not be world peace with or without them. Like if you want to start down the path of, oh, I'll kill this group of people to bring out world peace. Now I'm gonna kill, okay, but we don't have world peace. Okay, next I'll kill this group of people because they're now responsible for no world peace. Okay, I eradicated them. Now there's still no world peace. Okay, I will kill this group next because I think that they also might be responsible for no world peace. So until you kill every single person in the world, you are not going to bring about world peace. You're just taking away people's choice whether or not how they want to live. But that is, of course, just my opinion and how I understood it.
終わらせることを拒む。始祖の力を使ってどうするつもりだったんだ。俺は生まれた時から俺のままだ。俺とあんたが同じだと思ってたようだが間違っている。他人から自由を奪われるくらいなら俺はそいつから自由を奪う。あんたが望んだ哀れな弟はどこにもいない。あんたの心の傷を分かち合う都合のいい弟も。ただここにいるのは父親の望んだエルディア復権を否定し続けることでしか 自分自身を肯定できない男。
Oh.
死んだ父親に囚われたままの哀れな男だ。この父親の行いが息子を目覚めさせ、エルディアの危機から世界を救うのだから、始祖の巨人の力は俺の手の中だ。安楽死計画はいつでも遂行できる。だが俺はお前を決して見捨てない。草葉さんが俺にそうしてくれたように、世界を救う前にたった一人のお前を救いたい。
Before I save the world. That's really how he sees it, even though removing titans will not... I mean, from our world we can see that. We have no titans. Would you consider our world saved or any better off? I feel like if you... Some people might think, yeah, I do, because there are no monsters trying to eat me. But I think about all the shit happening in the world, human trafficking and child slavery, and I think horrible things that I can't even bear to read about. There are worse things than monsters quickly chopping my head off with their teeth. I'm not gonna lie. So I mean, obviously it's not ideal to live in a world where, oh, a monster could come bite your head off. But I feel like I live in a world where children are kidnapped and sold as sex slaves and raped multiple times in a day. So what I'm thinking is just that killing one group of people is never going to eradicate horrible problems. You have to focus on who is doing the killing, who is doing the raping, who is selling these people in our world. I don't know if doing those things will ever eradicate all horrors from the world, but I know personally, or I believe that indiscriminately eradicating one group of people, by indiscriminate I mean like Connie never did anything wrong, Sasha never did anything wrong, and how do I say, well, Sasha, I'm not talking about how Sasha died, but I'm talking about there's many Eldians that don't deserve to have their choice of living taken away from them, their choice of having children and you know, life as we know it. They don't why should that, if they've never done anything wrong, why should they have that taken away from them when there are people in this world besides Eldians, people in our world that are doing bad things? Why not use your power? I mean, Eldians can also fight for good. They can use their strength to fight for good. If that's what they'd like, if that's their choice, you know what I'm saying? So eradicating them from this world is not going to change much. Yeah, he thinks he'll save the world. Cool.
エレンが調査兵団に入りたいって。
ミカサ、言うなって。
エレン、何を考えてるの？壁の外に出た人類がどれだけ死んだか分かってるの？
分かってるよ。
だったら
どうして外に出たいんだ？
知りたいんだ。外の世界がどうなっているのか。それにここで誰も続く人がいなかったら、今までに死んだ人たちの命が無駄になる。
船の時間だ。そろそろ行くよ。
So, would this mean that Eren convinced him to do this? In a sense, not obviously, but Eren's desire for knowledge and freedom convinced him that the Eldians should be freed from pacifism, not being allowed to fight for their freedom. even though I still don't agree with how he went about it, I'm just asking, is that kind of what happened? Like, he had the opportunity earlier to do it, but then he wanted to maybe live like a normal life, or he didn't, but then his son proved to him human curiosity, something cannot be dulled. What. Very interesting, very well written.
私は壁の外から来たエルディア人。あなた方と同じユミルの民です。壁の王よ、今すぐ壁に攻めてきた巨人を殺してください。妻や子供たちが、壁の民が食われてしまう前に。
So he asked for help, and then
罪から逃れてはいけません。我々ユミルのために裁かれる日が来たのです。巨大な力に対し人、あまりにも弱い。私は巨人大戦の悲劇で悟りました。誰かが人の手から巨人の力を守らねばならない。再び始祖の力が弱い。
that the power of Titan must be protected from the hand of people. If the power...
弱き者の手に落ちる。再び世界は地獄と化す。世界を守るために我々は罪を受け入れ、滅びゆくほかないのです。
あれも嘘だったの？
私の家は破壊された壁のすぐそばにあり、そこで妻と息子と娘と暮らしている。この壁に住む人々は誰も先祖の犯した罪など知らない。あなたが壁の民の記憶を奪ったから。ただ訳も分からず巨人に食われることが贖罪だというのか。
いいえ、我々がいくら反省したところで、我々エルディア人が奪った人々の命を戻すことはでき
And what about the people out there still fighting wars, taking each other's lives, with or without freaking Eldians? What about...
しかし、壁の外の人類の命を奪うことを防ぐことはできる。我々がただ何も知らずに世界の怒りを受け入れれば、死ぬのは我々エルディア人だけで済む。
No, you won't.
私を説得しようなど無駄なことです。
私が始祖の力を使えないことは、9つの巨人にはそれぞれの特性がある。私に宿る進撃の巨人にも、私にはその理由がわかる。すべては王の独善に抗うため。
Oh, he used the word. He used the word self-righteousness.
では王の独善に抗うため。この時のために皆がこの記憶に導かれた。進撃の巨人は未来の継承者の記憶をも覗き見ることができる。つまり未来を知ることが可能なのだ。私はここで始祖を食らい、王家の血をここで絶やす。そういう未来だと決まっている。できない。
Oh fuck! This is why he couldn't forgive his dad. This is where he lost all hope for his father, because his father didn't want to go all the way. Oh shit! Shit! Here it comes. Fuck!
バカな。グリシャは確かに始祖を奪い、この一家を虐殺したはずだ。過去が変わるわけだ。な
何をしてる。立てよ父さん。忘れたのか。何をしにここに来たのか。犬に食われた妹に報いるためだろう。復権派の仲間にダイナにクルーガーに報いるために進み続けるんだ。死んでも死んだ後も。これは父さんが始めた物語だろう。
Oh my god. Oh.
なぜ全てを見せてくれないんだ。壁が壊されることを、壊される日を、彼らの安否を、本当にこれしか道はなかったのか。そこにいるんだろう、ジーク。この先お前の望みは叶わない。叶うのはエレンの望みだ。何を言っている。エレンの先の記憶を見た。しかしまさかあんな恐ろしいことになるとは。すまない。私はひどい父親だった。お前にずっと辛い思いをさせる。ジーク、お前を愛してる。もっと一緒に遊んでやればよかった。どうぞ、ジーク。エレンを止めてくれ。
Holy fuck. That was a 10 out of 10 episode. I was so close to crying multiple times because I can really relate to feeling angry at what Frida said, because I've explained this before in previous reactions, but I mean, I've heard that my whole life. I'm a white person living in South Africa, so even though I was born in like 1993, so I think the year after apartheid ended, I had nothing to do with that. I had nothing to do with but I'm told all the time that I should drop dead or go back to where I came from, even though I was born here and my parents were born here and their parents were born here. And I mean, it's not like I don't want to get into my whole fucking life story, but I can really understand the anger when someone tells you that you have to atone for things you didn't do. And I can understand how defensive you get when people want you to die. for those things, because it gets, you know, it can get pretty ugly. I think the worst comment that I've ever gotten was that I should be raped to death. Just recently, yesterday, in a live stream, and this might not be for the same reason, but I'm like 90% sure it was also an Attack on Titan fan, but I can't know. But just yesterday, someone said that I should be lobotomized. Like, I've had horrible things said to me over my life for many different reasons, but it's always been because, the biggest reason has always been because I'm supposed to somehow atone for things I didn't do, and it doesn't even matter. Here, she said it herself. She believes they can never atone. All they can do is die. So, when I share my feelings and my thoughts on these things, it's because I feel like, what if someone, there are people around the world that not only in South Africa, but people all around the world that hate white people, that think, oh, white people are the cause for all the bad things that happen in the world, because they've been taught one or two small parts of history. And that there are people that believe the world would be better off if I just died out. I couldn't have kids and all white people just died. Not just in South Africa, but all around the world. And it goes many ways too. There are people from various races that hate other groups, not even in the same race. Like, there has been a lifetime of slaughter and hate and anger and aggression between various African cultures within Africa itself. Even today, in modern times, there is animosity between the Zulu tribes and the Xhosa tribes. So if we can't even in our world eradicate the hate between ourselves and our own groups, I mean, take a look at different religious groups, and even within religion there are different types of Christians that also hate each other. Like, if we can't even eradicate hate and anger amongst ourselves, how is killing off one group going to make the world a better place? I feel like that is my biggest issue. Killing off me is not going to make, or taking away my ability to bear children is not going to make South Africa a better place. That's something we have to do together. We're a country with 11 different official languages, hundreds of ethnicities and religions, and there's always going to be fighting amongst ourselves in South Africa and amongst the world. So if we can't even fix our own issues, how can we fix the world? You know what I'm saying? That's something that we can only do together. We can only do for ourselves. And then maybe the rest of the world will see, oh, they're getting along quite fine. Maybe we should do that too. Maybe we should put our differences aside. But I have also been talking about this stuff for so long and trying so hard to expand on why I think what I think and the thought processes behind it in my notes, which is more than 200 pages at this point. And still there are people who are just, they don't want to listen. They just want to be angry that I don't feel the same way they do. So at this point I feel like I've become numb. There's no point in, I feel almost like there's no point in explaining my thoughts. There's no point in talking about my own life experiences and why that influences my opinions on this show. Because the people who should listen don't care. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop talking about it, because there are people who I've learned a lot from and who have said that they've learned a lot from me. So even if it's just a small percentage, I will still keep talking about and being honest. Because even if just a small portion of people learn and grow together, whether or not we end up agreeing fully, I think that's a good place to start. Dialogue and what is that quote? People keep, sorry, made a funny noise. People keep talking about how Zeke just wants world peace. Zeke just wants world peace. And all I can say to them is that your idea of peace and my idea of peace is very different. And I don't believe that no matter how many times you try and shove it down my throat, Zeke wants peace. How can you not want that? And we're not going to agree, because what Zeke wants and what Zeke is doing will not lead to peace, in my opinion. So I just want to, I often quote my Twitter header because that's why I put it there, so I can easily reference it. But obviously a quote is just like a way to express one part of what you're thinking, but here goes. Peace is not the absence of conflict. Differences are bound to happen. Peace means solving these differences through peaceful means, through dialogue, education, knowledge, and humane ways. Now the problem is that as people, sometimes we get, sometimes people don't want to talk, so we have to defend ourselves. Sometimes that's both sides don't want to talk, or talking doesn't lead to a solution, and then people fight. And I don't think fighting is the worst thing in the world. I mean, obviously war is horrible. But what I meant to say was fighting isn't inherently bad. Once again, I'd like to emphasize war is horrible and I'd like to avoid it at all costs. But I don't think that war is inherently bad in the sense that, only in the sense that to fight something out on level equal grounds is like, okay, maybe it's like natural in a sense when you consider us to be animals, all of us, or not animals, but you know, we're from nature, right? But we've transcended animals in the sense that we can reason and think, and I don't want to get into why people's brains are different, but maybe that's only because of evolution, I don't know. But the point is that we can talk about things, but still sometimes that's not enough, and then we fight. And what makes the fighting that is already horrible extra horrible is when we go about it in ways that perpetuate the fighting instead of, like, war. When you fight war, you need to fight it with an end in mind. First of all, generally wars are because people benefit. There's people on top that benefit from wars financially and in terms of power, divide and conquer, right? So I don't want to talk about why wars happen in the first place, because 9 out of 10 times it's not for the right reasons. Where was I going with this? But so even though I understand that we have this nature side to us, that maybe we can't reason things out, we can only fight it out. But even if I give in to that idea that we have to sometimes fight it out, I can never agree with, like, there's still a wrong way to fight and a right way to fight, even if it gets that far, which I hope should never happen. But that isn't inherently wrong to me. What is inherently wrong is when, you know, we go about fighting in the wrong way. And you can go about it in a moral sense, but also in a practical sense. Morally, if we have waged wars with each other, there are certain things we shouldn't do. I think that's called, we have something like that called the Geneva Convention or something. But even if you don't want to look at it in a moral sense, you can look at it in a practical sense. And I've gone into depth about this in my notes. And I've also referenced the Saga of Tanya the Evil movie, there's a discussion with Tanya at the end that whether it's for moral reasons or for practical reasons, war should be fought. If they can't be avoided, war should be fought with the goal of ending them as soon as possible, because both sides, if humanity is about survival, if the longer a war goes on, the more both sides are being hurt. And if you end the war wrong, you only end up perpetuating, kind of like how the First World War and the Second World War is linked, because, well, we can also, that's debatable, but just to put it briefly, things that happened in the First World War and how one side was meant to carry all the blame led to why it was so easy for the second, not easy, but for a certain person to rile up others, that to do things that what led to the Second World War. So that's why it's important to can you just please watch the Saga of Tanya the Evil second movie? I mean the movie, not second movie, just the movie, and the end of that movie, that discussion that she has. And then I remember I have a video where I talk about that too. But yeah, I am rambling now and kind of digressing from my main point, which is just about the episode was amazing because it showed how a bunch of nothing is as it seems at first glance, but that if I like that it for me it came down to what Grisha said, was this really the only way? Because that's what people keep trying to convince me of. This is all. You can't, there's nothing. What would you have done? What would you have done? What would you have done? Like, that is to me such an annoying question, because I have answered that many times, but people, they don't, they will come up with whatever headcanon to disprove that, oh, but that wouldn't work because this, but that wouldn't work because this. But there's no way to know, because they would, there are manga readers that will go to the lengths of, no, Isayama was wrong. They say the writer is wrong to end up proving their points. This is obviously, you can debate and say, I don't believe that would have worked for these reasons, but you can never say that, oh, you don't, that would not have worked and this was the best way, because we don't know. Because if they had taken all the things that I said, maybe they should try this, maybe they should try this. If they had tried that, we don't know if it could have led to something different, but it proves the point that there were other options. In 1,000 different little decisions actually could have been made differently to lead to different outcomes. That is like life, right? I could decide tomorrow to go to my parents' house 1.5 hours away, and that could change the course of my life dramatically. Small decisions can lead to huge changes, but no, the people who keep asking things like, oh, there's no other way, and they just say that to justify their favorite characters' actions. And okay, that's fine if you believe that, but you can't throw in my face, oh, but there was no other way, when I give you other possibilities, and I have in the past, and I've written it in my notes, and then you make up headcanon that, no, but this was the best way. Suddenly it's not, no, there was no other way. Suddenly, no, but this is the best way. Only because your favorite character chose that way. And to me, the most crazy thing is that there are people that will go so far as to say the author of this story is wrong in order to prove their point and stand by their favorite characters. So, I don't know, people, they don't really want, those people, they don't seem to really want to talk about these things as I believe Attack on Titan is meant to make us talk. They just want to have people support their, like, yes men, like, yes, you're right, yes, yes, yes. It's difficult to talk to those people, but anyway, that was a 10 out of 10 episode for me, mainly because of the story and the characters very well written. What I find interesting, I will mention it again in my review, but what I found interesting is last week I mentioned at least 3 times that when Eren said to Zeke, no, I don't agree with your plan, it was nice because I saw a little part of what I loved about Eren in season 1 to 3, but as I mentioned 3 times at least, that doesn't change the fact that he has done things up to this point after, you know, season 1 and 2 and 3 that I don't agree with. So we'll see where it goes. And obviously I see like what I loved about Eren in season 1 and 2. It is possible. Well, let's put it this way. I do still agree with basic tenets in his beliefs about freedom, but he is like crazy because when he talks, so for example, when he was a child and there was that quote, I don't know where it was, at 8:18 maybe. Let me just double check here. 8:18. Yeah, so when he was this part, God, it's so difficult to this part where the guys did and I won't hesitate to take theirs. When he said, if someone tries to steal my freedom away, I won't hesitate to take theirs, which is like something I can agree with because it's like it's like self-defense. If these people want to kill me or attack me, if I attack back, can you really call that bad because you are only protecting your own freedom? But he goes way too far with that in season 4 onwards, where he becomes what he hates. These people, in order to protect their lives and make a living and continue living in whatever, protect their freedom, did bad things like wanting to steal and kill children in order to perpetuate their lives or keep themselves alive. So they did bad things and they stole people's freedom in order to, that was how they kept their life and kept their life going, whatever. So that's kind of like how animals live, right? It's kill or be killed. And we know that what they did is bad, of course. And I believe that what Eren did was self-defense. But he goes so much further where he becomes what he hates, in the sense that he is also now willing to kill innocent people in order to protect his own freedom, which is exactly why what happened to him in season 1 when the wall and everything and his mom died, and I mean he did the exact same. Protecting yourself doesn't mean you get to kill innocent people. Like, the problem is when fighting breaks out, I understand that sometimes why it's horrible, because sometimes innocent people get caught up in it. If, let's say, I fight with someone in a bar and they try to stab me and now I'm protecting myself and I'm trying to tackle them. Okay, a bar is a bad idea because there shouldn't be kids in a bar. Let's say at the beach, there's a drunk person and she's trying to stab me now. And now I smack her over the head and start tumbling, fighting her in the sand. The problem is that I'm trying to defend myself. This woman is trying to kill me for God knows what reasons. Let's say now I'm scuffling with this woman and I push her to just get her and her knife away from me, and a child was unbeknownst of what was happening right over there. She was playing in the sand and then this woman falls on top of that child, crushing her neck, and the child dies. Like, I get that even though it's sometimes necessary to fight, we should avoid that at all costs, because innocent people get caught up in that, and that is horrible. And just because I pushed the woman away and something horrible like that happened doesn't mean I'm responsible for the death of the child, right? I would probably feel horrible for the rest of my life. There would be a sense of guilt, but I mean, legally, I don't think that I'm responsible. And if it happened to someone else, I wouldn't hold them responsible. But there's a difference between, okay, I see this woman running at me now with a knife. I know she wants to kill me. I grab a child and I hold it up like a shield. And then the woman stabs the child. That is obviously a completely different situation. And I feel like that's where people don't understand why I don't agree with Eren's actions. I do believe that you should be allowed to fight for yourself, but when you go out of your way to freaking do something that you know innocent people are gonna die, I don't know, it seems counterintuitive to me when you value freedom so much to steal others' freedom in the same way that you were angry yours was stolen when you were a child and your mother's, and you know, all of that happening. But anyway, I should end the video now. Like I said, it's 10 out of 10 from me. Oh, is there a preview? The story of those who struggle, fight, and continue to move forward. Who started the story? Isn't that an interesting thing? Who started this story? Who started the fight? Who should we blame? Where do we put the blame? Or you could take a look at it like, where did this start so that we can try and fix it with just having the knowledge of what went wrong, so we don't make the same mistakes. It could be either one of those, because a lot of people want to point fingers and who started the fight, but sometimes it doesn't really matter unless you actually want to learn and fix it from the starting point. But it's a bit difficult in real life when we don't have people that can see into the past and what. Okay, anyway, I'll talk more about this complicated stuff in my discussion/review video. Bye.